All right, cool. Here we go. So I'm gonna give a quick introduction real quick before we start. So this is Jeff, guys. Basically, his business has been freaking exploding lately. He joined into the $1 Million Detailer Academy in what, like, how long ago has it been now?
I feel like it hasn't been that long. It was beginning of the year or right before end of year last year, right?
Yeah, somewhere around like January, February. So about 5 or 6 months ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he has been absolutely grinding out pretty much everything that we teach and implementing it. And so basically, we're going to talk for a little bit. And he's going to share a lot of his successes, what created those for him, and a lot of the biggest transformations that have happened in his business. So go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead and tell us go ahead and finish what you were saying.
So basically what I was getting at is like through all the craziness and stuff, like current situations, right? Where like we're talking live action, right? Like in the now, like all this stuff going on. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Right. I'm like, I have all this information. I'm like, when is it going to work? When is everything I've read and studied and put all that time in just going to hit me? Right. Cause I
Mm-hmm.
know one day eventually it's just going to hit you like a ton of bricks. Right.
Right.
Well, we get all the, stuff with COVID, and I'm like, I was like, this sucks, right? Business is just getting ready to bottom out. And I'm like, whoa, what do I do? Right? What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, well, I know what I know now, and no one can take that away from me, right? Like all the, like the detailing academy, all that stuff, like no one can take that away from me. Like that's engraved in my brain now, engraved in my DNA. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, when is this going to work? And I'm like, oh, okay. So what I'm going to do now is start completely over,
Mm-hmm.
but start over knowing what I know now. So basically start from scratch. Like, what am I going to do? Well, I call them the 4 keys to unlocking my, ideal customer.
Mm-hmm.
So, interrupt, engage, educate, offer. And
Bingo.
I put that up, and like it didn't really make sense. I sent you a picture of the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had it in my office, so every single day it was just like, there, present. So every time I went in, got out, I seen it, and I'm like, I wasn't really picking up on it. Well, through all this and whatnot, I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna start over. So I start over, and then I start using the 4 keys, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know it. So I'm like, if I want to start over, I'm going to go handpick the people I want to work with.
Right.
Right. I have the skill set. I have the, like the work ethics. I have the determination. I got all that, right? I have the knowledge. So like, let's put it to use. So here's a story. I didn't close him as a customer, but he was my 0.1%, I would say. But he
Mm-hmm.
works right down the street from me. I know what he drives. I just have to reapproach and retouch base, but I got his contact info. But I got so busy with other cool cars prior to that like I didn't even like the cool factor wasn't even there anymore, kind of thing. But how I got him is I'm at the Wendy's drive-through, okay, and this is like during COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh wow, that's a Dodge Daytona. That's not a clone, right? That's an actual Dodge Daytona Charger, right? Newer.
Right.
But so as we're in the drive-through getting our sandwiches, I interrupt. I get out of my car. I interrupt him, scare the crap out of him. I'm like, hey, he's like, oh my God. I'm like, really cool car, right? So like I started a conversation. I'm like, really cool car. I'm like, this is a actual Daytona, right? And he's like, yes. It's not it's not a copycat. He's like, it's one of, 2,300. And he, rambled off, whichever one it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, awesome. Well, I already interrupted him. This man, it just turned dark out, and here I am, just pop up out of my car, walk over to him as he's waiting for his food, and next thing you know, he's got his hood popped open. You know what I mean? We're looking at his car, talking about his car, right? And then so the interrupt, the engage. I walked up to his car, right, and then educate him like, this is what I do. I'm like, I don't lead with I detail cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to automatically lead with my upsell, right? With my higher end services.
Mm-hmm.
I specialize in paint corrections and ceramic coatings. And then I go off into my spiel, right? And then the last step, the offer, they have a cool car. I want to work on it. It's my ideal client, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then we've already talked about the car. He's already shown me, I'm telling him how much I love it. So he already knows, he or she that you're approaching already knows that like you love it as much as they do.
Mm-hmm.
you know, 9 times out of 10, I know more about the car than they do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a car guy. So, and then an offer, like, so an offer to where we're still going to make money, but I'm also getting the content, and I'm letting the content do the leading, because that's what's going to get me more of these cars. Because all I got to do is share a video, and then other people with cool cars are like, hey, I want mine done. I want mine done. And then the word of mouth just spreads like wildfire. But like, I was using the 4 elements, I call them the 4 keys, but like, and I didn't know I was using them. And I'm like, it just hit me one day, and I was like, whoa. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and I told Keely, my girlfriend, I was like, babe, I was like, I'm doing that every time I go to them, and I didn't know I was doing it. And then other detailers and, you know, people then reaching out, they're like, how are you getting these cars right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, you know, I took in a lot of information very fast, and the flyer I did, 6 days, I created pro level copy after taking in over 40 hours of audio. Like, it's funny because I'm getting the, you know, videos, but I'm like, the links from the academy, but I'm like, I did those in 6 days. Like, I just cranked it in, wrote, like, you seen when we had our last video together, an interview, that I had like 15, 20 pages worth of notes, you know, back to back, you know, just kind of crunching it all in. And then I'd say that, like, you can start using everything, like the increments, like you guys teach and stuff like that. But then, like, if you focus on just one and make that one that's supposed to be your 5% to stack so you can get there at the end of the year kind of thing. If you can grab that 5% and turn it into 95%, just turn it up, because your other 5% is going to be you doing the work. But if you can take this 95% and go all in on one of them, and I strongly believe the 4 keys, the 4, 4 keys of marketing is like, I mean, that's it. I mean, the copy, you know what I mean? Your copy, how you talk to your customers and everything, but just using that, like, focusing on that is what got me to where I am. But also, you know, I've been in sales, but I never wanted to seem sales pitchy, right? Like, be a solution solver, not a salesman, right?
Right.
And then, like we talked about before the interview, like, I told you, and I was like, I don't upsell or downsell, because, like, I don't want to be that guy to my customers or the people we're trying to get, right? So, like, for example, I have I literally followed him to his work. He was on his lunch break. Okay, here's another story. This was just recently. And I have the pictures for it too. And I got his contact information. And I know never to leave without the person whose car you're trying to get's phone number. Because you already, so I used, once again, the four keys again. Interrupt. I followed this man to his workplace, waited for him to park, then pulled up on the side of him, honked, rolled my window down. So there's the interrupt, right? Engage. He rolled his window down. We had a conversation, right? Got out the car. We're shaking hands. I'm telling him how awesome his Nissan 350Z is. You know, he's got it done right, looks super clean, and he's just all ears. And prior to the interview, like I said, you want to light him up like a winning lottery machine, right? Like, this guy's just like, he knows about as much as my car as I do, and he honestly cares as much as I do. So being sincere and showing the concern, and then giving him the value at the end that he sees, because one, I'm genuine, you know, I'm being and then straightforward, right? And then because I was able to interrupt him, meanwhile, as he's talking, he has his KFC food bag in his hand. Okay, like, I can't make this stuff up. And then, like, I take picture proof, because everyone's like, oh, well, it doesn't work. I'm like, no, it does work. And if it's not working for you, it's because you don't feel confident in yourself enough, or you're not, the offer you're giving them isn't sweet enough.
Right.
You know, I always try to tell people, the offer, you want to think like Don Corleone, right? You want to make an offer that they cannot refuse.
Exactly.
Okay. So another one, I did.
Hold on before you get to the next story. You've talked about, you know, the four keys he's talking about. We refer to it as the bulletproof marketing equation.
Yes.
And so me and you know what you're talking about, but for some of the people that are going to watch this, that have no clue what the heck that is, just to kind of give a brief overview of it. Those 4 steps he's referring to, right? is that's how you want to go about handling any sales interaction, any copy that you're writing, anything like that, right? So again, that's that interrupt, engage, educate, offer, right? So to go back to his original story, right? The interrupt is kind of when you're taking the prospect out of their pattern, right? So like you're going through the drive-through, or you're flipping through Facebook, or buying something at the register at the gas station, right? Whatever it is you're doing, you're trying to interrupt that and get their focus onto you, right? So he said he hopped out, runs up to the guy, whatever, totally shocks the dude. He's no longer thinking about his food or what the heck he's doing in the drive-thru anymore. Now he's focused on Jeff, right? And then on to the next step, the engage, right? Which is where you're basically getting their permission to kind of educate them on what you have to offer, right? So he says he pulls over, opens up the hood, they're chatting, right? He's got his permission at this point to start discussing with him his specialty, right? Paint corrections, ceramic coatings. Okay. So I'm sure you went through that, explained, dude, your car, this, and that, all the awesome benefits that we all know about ceramic coatings. The dude absolutely wants it. Now you've just got to make it super easy for him to get what you just convinced him he needs. Right. And then that's when you make XYZ offer. Right. And we usually have some kind of risk reversal or a guarantee or something included with that. So that's exactly what Jeff's talking about here. As being the key to why pretty much all of his sales copy, his flyers, and his sales interactions are working 99% of the time. So you can go ahead and go with that next story. I just wanted to give everybody kind of a brief update on exactly what that is you're talking about.
Yeah. So like, and then it's just like time and time again. So back to the 350Z is like, this man, like he's local, you know what I mean? These aren't people, this is all within, a 5-mile radius of my shop. So these are all local people that I'm seeing anyways, or they've already seen me around. They just, we've never actually, had an interaction together. So, and a lot of these people, like I'm driving a 2013 Mini Cooper, and they're all in the 300 horsepower plus club, right? So if I'm trying to catch them, right, and then they hear me, now they see this green shiny Mini Cooper that's been ceramic coated, and then I can demo the vehicle right there on the spot too if needed, and just drop water on my dirty Mini Cooper. And they're like, what is that on there? And then you could, you can also lead with that if, that's what you're trying to pitch as well, right? So because it's coated, I can get more coated cars. Well, and then because I'm interrupting, they hear this little green car zipping up behind them, right? And then honk, and I'm like, hey, and I've even said, hey, pull over. And then people pull over, right? But they see the Mini Cooper. They're in another car that, is their own, right? And that they've made uniquely their own by sound or by looks. Same thing with the Mini Cooper. So they know that I'm also an enthusiast myself. Like, or he's like batshit crazy.
Yeah.
But, and then like, the other thing, times like this is when people want to interact with people because they're not getting it. Now your interrupt is almost like your superpower. I can just say that, like your interrupt, because, oh my God, this person's talking to me, right? Like, who is this person? But like using, like I said, I call them the 4 keys, because literally that's all you need to unlock your ideal client. And mind you, I'm hand picking the customers I want to work with now.
Right.
Yes. And then the detailing is coming off of that. You know what I mean? Like, so I get the details, and now the details are free. Oh, you book a $1,100 paint correction and coating with me. It's going to take me 2-3 hours to do the interior. If that, I'll do that for free. And they're like, oh, wow. And then they tell their other friends, well, I got an awesome deal. I don't know if he can do it for free for you. And they're like, well, I want that. Like, I'll pay whatever. Right. And now they're doing the upselling and the selling for me. That's how crazy it is.
Can you explain real quick Jeff, why in the world would you do that? Why would you why would you do the interior for free?
So the key thing is to lead with extraordinary amounts of value, right? We're all doing the same freaking thing, right? People are showing the same pic. So how are you going to set yourself different? Well, the other guy down the street charges $1,100 for a coating, but then he's going to charge you $400 to detail your car and prep it. So with me, I got to wash the car before I put a polisher on it anyways. I got to prep the car before I wash it anyways. And that's when I lead with my flyer, right? So I have a special offer flyer that the exterior is completely free.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that do? That sets the customer up. It gives them $375 worth of value, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to do that step anyways when I get ready to polish it before I ceramic coat it. It obviously needs to be prepped, some type of prep and wash. The customer doesn't know that. And then they're like, well, what about the interior? Our interiors start at 175. And then I don't have to pitch detailing no more,
Mm-hmm.
but because they ask, I give them our starting price. Right. And then if I give them my sales offer, my free $375, special offer,
Mm-hmm.
they book it and they don't even bat an eye at it. And then now that their inside's done and their vehicle's washed, how likely are they to get the paint correction and ceramic coating? Very likely. Plus I gave them such an awesome deal that like they literally can't refuse it.
Exactly.
So like, it's like I upsold them without upselling them. And then
Mm-hmm.
I downsold them without even downselling to them because their outside's on. I'm like, don't worry about the exterior. The exterior is completely on me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want them to show what we can do. And then here's the other thing I do to keep adding more value. I add our ceramic spray wax that I usually charge $150 just to apply on the car. It lasts up to 6 months. I put that on for free. So if they kind of are skeptical about my offer, once they see the gloss and run their hands on that 6 month ceramic wax, it's in the bag. The closing rate goes from, you know what I mean? It's still in the 90 to 99 percentile.
Right. Okay. So to break it down for like the beginners or people that aren't able to follow along with you as quickly as I am. So the goal from the beginning is to sell them on the paint correction and ceramic coating, right?
Correct. Yep.
So all of these other things you're doing are basically leading up to that.
Yep.
Right? So can you go like all the way to the beginning of the sale, right? When you're initially engaging with this person, discussing things with them, what does that kind of offer look like that you're giving to them in regards to here's what I'm going to do, plus I'll throw in the free interior or the hybrid ceramic wax or whatever it is. What does that look like?
So if you were the customer, for example, and then we'll just kind of do it this way. So they come here first. If I go to them, I'm leading with my high ticket sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but once again, I'm not grabbing a normal sedan.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I'm a car guy. I already know the car. You know what I mean? And if you see a car you like, you can quickly do your homework and get the specs on it and have a conversation piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I go and I say, hey, whether you think that these like high-end cars, don't have any marks on them, you're sadly mistaken. Majority of all these high-end cars are trashed.
Mm-hmm.
So I already know that the paint's damaged. So the first thing I do is when I walk up, I'm talking with them, I'm engaged in the conversation, and I'm looking in their vehicle. I'm like, do you mind if I open it up and look at it? Right. And then meanwhile, within 30 seconds of me not knowing this complete stranger, I'm opening the doors, popping the hood, you know what I mean? But being respectful.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm also showing that I know what I'm doing, but I'm also taking charge of the situation
Mm-hmm.
so that they're just kind of, oh, okay, like this is what's going on. This guy's a professional and he's serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing they get, the first impression that they get and that I give off is that he loves the vehicle as much as I do. He's just as excited about this as I am. So like, that's kind of like on my side as well. But I literally just say, hey, the interrupt. So I stop them from doing what they're doing, stop them in their tracks, stop them from their daily routine. And that's just by walking up, and kind of breaking the ice. Hey, love the car. Always, if you're trying to get the car, say, hey, oh my God, this car's sick, right? You want to lead with the car because they're driving this car because it's in some type of way a reflection of them. Or they have some type of pride, or they're an enthusiast as well, and they're super excited and they got it for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I always touch on those reasons, like, oh my God, these rims are sick. And I'm not lying because like I'm a car enthusiast too. And I respect the vehicle, right? I respect the customization and all that. So I use those as leading factors to engage in a conversation with. Like I was supposed to have a red Nissan GTR sitting where I'm sitting right here in my garage, but because of the weather, I'm booking it for Thursday. Now, mind you, I took a huge L on the price. One, it's already clean, it's already ceramic coated. but the
Mm-hmm.
content, no one in my area is going to have a GTR in their garage next week, hands
Right.
down. Right. So, and I haven't even posted. I don't even need to post on social media anymore. I don't. I literally don't. Why? Because I'm going and handpicking all these customers. So
okay. So, man, you're like dropping so many things so fast. I want to kind of keep
yeah, just to go back on it. So I engage with the customer, the conversation piece, and I guess you could say that my sales pitch to lead with and the conversation to lead with, to engage with, is about the vehicle that I'm going after.
And
so, oh my God,
what is like, because you were saying that you don't have to do your upsells or downselling as hard because you've kind of thrown in these free value with it, right? You've given them such an extraordinary value. Can you kind of like demonstrate what that offer would look like or sound like if another detailer was wondering, okay, I'm going to try to give them something free to get them to want to do X, Y, Z. How do I do that? How would you explain that to a detailer that maybe doesn't quite understand how that works?
Okay, so we'll go back to something basic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're trying to sell them on your $500 complete detail package with engine, right?
Yes.
Well, okay, $500 a little steep. Well, okay, let's throw in an offer. I'll throw in a $75 windshield coating for free.
Okay.
It lasts 6 to 8 months. If it doesn't last 6 months, I'll give you your $75 back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So give them a guarantee. Be like, you're going to give me my $75 back? Yep. If it doesn't last at least 6 months, and I know it does, or else I wouldn't risk giving away my $75, right? Now, mind you, they're getting it for free. So then if I tell them I'm going to give them my $75 if it doesn't last 6 months,
mm-hmm. So what you just did was, hey, this detail's $500, but here's the deal. When you book this blah, blah, blah package, platinum package, we also throw in a free 6-month windshield coating, right? That lasts up to 6 months, right? Or at least 6 months, however it is, right? It lasts at least 6 months. It's a $75 value. Going to throw that in 100% free for you just for booking this with us, right? And so the idea here is now they're paying $500 for $575 worth of value, and you're willing to back it up that it's not just a gimmick, right, to get them to buy it by saying, look, dude, if this isn't a real offer, like if this isn't a real bonus, if it's not really going to last and do what I'm saying it's going to do, I'll just pull the 75 out of my pocket and give it to you. Dude, just come back in 7 months. Even if it is still working, if you just want $75, just tell me it doesn't. Like, leave it like so, no strings attached, right? And that's, okay, and then, so I'm following you. That's super, super basic. You're just giving them this additional value, right? Just to sweeten the pot.
Yep. And then the other thing is too, if you give them the $75 back, you still made $425 on your detail. Right.
And how much does a windshield coating, like, because people are going to go, well, dang, now I have to coat his windshield for free. We know it's going to work. Like, we know it's going to last 6 months. We're not really going to have to give them the $75, but you're going to have detailers that are going to say, well, why would I do that for free? I didn't get paid for that. So how much to you, Jeff, would you say that it costs to apply a windshield coating and hard costs?
Hard costs. So a 250 milliliter bottle, for example, is $28.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Regardless, whatever product you use, it's got to last it, whatever the guarantee is. If it's 3 months, then tell them 3 months, whatever the product calls for. Right.
Right.
But, my cost is $28 a bottle. One bottle probably makes me a couple $1,000.
Okay.
Because cost wise, it's maybe 40 cents a spray. You know what I mean? Like to do a coating on the front windshield, because it's a spray solution.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting 3 sprays for half a windshield, and then 6 sprays total. It's going to cost you less than $1, 100%, depending on what product you're using, but between 40 cents to $1.
So we're looking at maybe $1 and
maybe
hard
at
cost, and then
end,
like 5 minutes of your time, 10 minutes of your time.
Yeah, 10 minutes for it to cure, and then buff it off.
Okay, cool. So we'll just say 15, just to be super conservative. So $1 and hard costs, 15 minutes of your time, right? Now, here's the next thing. So we're going, okay, well, I guess it doesn't really cost that much, but what if I'm wasting my time and money anyway? So let's say you've got 10 people, right, that you're making this offer to, and before you, well, 10 people you're trying to sell this $500 detail to, right? And you're able to close 5 out of 10. How many more would you say you're going to close by adding in this $75? How many more would you say that you'd be able to close by adding this additional bonus offer?
Well, the additional bonus offer, here's the great thing. So now you can say, hey, and here's the other pitch I get. So if you love what's on your windshield, I have something better for the painted surfaces of your vehicle. Okay? Because as soon as it rains, they're gonna be waiting for it to rain and to test, right? And some people will literally count the days to make sure that it lasts 6 months, because they're trying to say, okay, I'm gonna put it to the test, but they're not testing you, they're testing the product longevity, right? So the product I use, as soon as they go over 25 miles an hour, the water starts beating, right? And then what do? Who's ever in their car is going to be like, what do you got on your windshield? Right? So that's the other thing. Like, they're going to see it they're going to experience it for themselves. And I always tell them, when it rains, don't even turn your wipers on. And they're like, are you serious? Yup. So that right there triggers, why would I do that? Like, almost like, like nervousness, like a little bit of scared and like shocking. Like, it just kind of gets their emotions going. And then as soon as it rains, and the next time, and then I always do a checkup, and I always do a checkup after it downpours, right? Because the odds are they drove in it. Yeah. Like, how do you like the windshield coating? They're like, I love it. They're like, I want it on every vehicle now, right? And then what do we do now that they want it on every vehicle, right? $75 for her husband's car to bring it in if it's on the wife's, or vice versa, right?
So wait, Jeff, hold on. So what you're saying? So what you're saying is, if I'm able to close 5 out of 10. And by offering this free bonus thing, I can't close any additional people, right? I don't close any more than 5 out of 10. What you're saying is, it doesn't really matter, because now the 5 that I did close are going to be telling all of their buddies, bro, watch this when I drive in the rain, what happens. So now they've got to come and get the coating from you. Oh, hey, my wife saw it. Now she wants it on every vehicle that we own. My 16-year-old just got his first car. We've got to put it on that. Right. So you just literally, even if you get no extra sales on top of what you were already doing in regards to closing people on this detail, you've created basically a sales force that is sending more business to you. So you've maximized those 5 initial people that you closed. Yep. And then for the next 6 months, who are they thinking about every time it rains when they get in their car? Every single time, dude. When they're driving down the road and they're not dying and they're not getting wrecks and they can see everything perfectly. Yes. Dude, and so that's simple. That's so simple. That's literally lighting up the downsell like a Christmas tree. Literally. Because I didn't have to downsell them. I gave them the value already, and then here's the other thing. And then like you said, it's like I said, it costs less than $1, right? So then the wife wants hers done now because the husband's is done and they got 2 kids. Like, I'll tell you what, Julie, if you can book all 3 right now, and we pay for them right now, I'll take an additional $25 off each one. And you can even code all of those for free, dude. Like, okay, we'll code all of those for free. Just bring them in. We'll detail the interior, exterior. We'll seal them all up. We'll get all. Here's another one. We're gonna do it for free, and you can use this on any offer. I'm gonna do this one service for you for free, but you gotta do me a solid. And I'm gonna use Julie again as a reference. You gotta do me a solid, Julie. And Julie's super excited about what you just gave her and all the value you just built. I need you to tell everybody what we do here. Because that one referral, best friend now. Yes, that one referral, that one from one Julie. You only need one Julie in your business who's all about you and is a diehard you fan and fan of your business and everything you guys offer to take your business to the next level. Because Julie may be the Julie of the town and know 500, 600 people. Or she may work for a big corporation down the street that you are unaware of, or they might have 10 cars in their garage. Right. Exactly. So the free offer can be on anything, but the free offer brings back so much more value that it's like indistinguishable. Like, you're like, because I did that, it got me this. And here's another reference outside of detailing, but it shows that when you do something extraordinary, people remember. So
I DJ'd a wedding reception, and this is the fourth like family member in the family that I've DJ'd for.
Mm-hmm.
But here's how I got the fourth one and where I was at today. And here's the other thing. I was charging $375 and $400. Okay. Mm-hmm. The reception I did yesterday was $1,000. So, and when I told everyone this story, they all laughed because it's true. So the first wedding I got, mind you, the girl's name was Alyssa, who got married. Well, and Julie, which is funny, Julie is my ideal customer that I built in my head. And now I get more Julies than I know what to do with. Okay. So Julie, I told Julie, I said, I also DJ'd Matt and Ashley's wedding, Schultz. And she goes, Ashley's my daughter. I'm like, yes, I'm aware. Right. And I said, if you remember, I didn't just have the some people at the reception dancing. I had great grandma and great grandpa hop on the train, the choo-choo train, and do the train around the hall, okay? And because I got great-grandma and great-grandpa up, it got me to where I was yesterday at the fourth wedding reception and now in the family. Mm-hmm. Because like, I gave so much value, right? And they saw so much value in what I was doing. They had no choice but to participate. Mm-hmm. And because grandma and grandpa, now it got me to where I am. So it's like I'm using that as a reference as like longevity. Because grandma and grandpa did the choo-choo train, right? You know, almost 5 years ago, got me the next 3 jobs, you know, and put $1,000 in my pocket, you know what I mean? And I even doubled my prices. Mm-hmm. But because they saw the value. And last night, I got an additional $100 tip and then booked 4 details. Okay. Booked 4 details. Okay. Out of like the reception yesterday. But here's the funny thing. So one of the previous weddings I just did a Supra. Okay. The Supra got me the Nissan GTR. Okay. And I knew, Josh was one of the guys that I DJ'd his wedding. And I knew that was Josh there. So when I came in with the Supra, I revved it up, right? And because I revved it up, he told everybody in the wedding party, all the guys, yeah, I just saw Jeff last week. He was in a Supra. He had to tell a story. And his wife was like, oh my God, he can't stop talking about it. But here's the other cool thing. So now that I've been doing this, you know, going up, you know, using, like I said, what I call the 4 keys. And what did you refer to them as again?
The bulletproof marketing equation.
Okay. The bulletproof marketing equation. Because I've been doing it so much in town, you know, people are going into work with these flyers and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. My special offers. Or they're telling people the story, be like, yeah, you know, I just craziest thing. Some guy named Jeff pulls up in a Mini Cooper. And like my friends with cool cars now are like, I know who Jeff is. Yeah. He does awesome work. They validate me right on the spot. And now like that's going full circle, you know, and a lot of my customers around here are like middle-aged. They're in their 40s to 60s. And because we've taken care of them so much and they see the value in what we do because they were raised on values, right? High values, you know, and taking care of things. The word of mouth I'm getting back from that, people, like I was never really, you know, everybody just come to the door and come in my shop. It was more or less appointment only. But now we have, I'd say 10 to 15 people a week walking in my shop, you know, brand new customers, but they're coming from referrals because our referrals are so strong. And I make sure that if they're the first time that we do business with them we give them more in service value than they give us in cash value, and they see it. And then here's the other thing. They see it, and then they can literally touch it. And then because of the smells, they can smell it. So also like selling on the senses, right? Like, it's the little things like that like I wasn't thinking about. Like it smells like I'll have our diffuser going and it smells like cinnamon. Yeah. Cinnamon actually, you know, opens people up to sell and buy more. Also classical music. So I'll play like classical music and have cinnamon like in the diffuser. And it makes people feel more at home. You know what I mean? Like all those, like selling on the smells. Like when they come here, they know what it smells like. When they get their car done, they know what it looks like, smells like, and feels like. Like, you know, I came up with I gotta like finish writing it. You know what I mean? But like, for like a super glossy Alfa Romeo, you know what I mean, gets the works, right, for a headline, right? And like they see the car, it's shiny, you know, I could go on and on about all the you know, benefits to a ceramic coating and list them in bullet points. So once again, it doesn't look like I'm selling, right? But list them in bullet points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they read over it, go back to the bullets, you know, and I can go on and on about the benefits. But what I can't show you, and what I can't, or what you can't, you can see it, right? And I can tell you, but you can't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to know what a ceramic coating feels like, give us a call and come on down to Sweet Detailing Co. Because like, I can try to, and you know, showing the copy and stuff, like I could try to explain, but you list off the benefits as if you weren't trying to sell it, but the benefits are there, so they have them. Like I can go on and on and on how sweet this ceramic coating is, but you don't know how sweet it is until you feel it, until you feel it for yourself. And when people put their hands on the car after it's been ceramic coated, they're like, this doesn't feel like anything else.
Yeah.
And like that,
you can
that
even let them
becomes,
like wash a panel, like rinseless wash a panel, and just
Yep.
feel how buttery it is.
Yes. And they see it, you know, and that's why I do what I do, because like it's the end result we're all seeking, right? So outcome focused, journey driven, right, is what I like to say. So like the journey's going to suck sometimes, but if you're outcome driven and outcome focused, you're going to get the ideal that you're going after. And I'll say this too. So like, I didn't expect everything to like snowball so fast, but I was ready for it. I'm like, why am I spending thousands of dollars on products to get stocked up on right now? Well, I was about to be booming, and I was like getting myself ready. And now we're starting to carry everything we have in our shop, because the customer's like, what do you use on my car? Right? Like, you know, for the in-betweensies, and then we sell them the product on the shelf, and I don't have to sell them on the product because they already see the end result. They already know what it feels like. Now they just want, you know what I mean? So now I'm selling product, and I don't even have to pitch it. I got them. They can, you know, my shop's open, so you can pick anything up off the shelf. You can move anything you want, like, you know, feel free to, you know, smell the smells, whatever, touch it, put some on your hand. You know, if you want to check it out, I recommend gloves, but you know, feel free to, you know, do what you want to do, kind of thing. But, you know, just like being completely transparent with everybody is also like super huge. So like, you know, I'm not trying to sell people on services that they don't need. I'm trying to sell them on, you know, like solutions to, you know, make their life better. Do you wash this yourself? Yep. Well, if it's ceramic coated, did you know you can take an hour and a half car wash and do it in about 20 minutes? They're like, oh, okay. Yeah. It used to take me an hour and a half to wash my Mini Cooper. Now it takes us 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So like time
if
savings,
they're rinseless
right?
washing it, man, they don't even have to pull the hose out. They don't have to do, there's all kinds of steps that are just completely taken away. Do it right in the garage. Don't even pull it out.
Right. Absolutely. So like little stuff like that, like it's just, but it's getting the person that you want to see the image, you know what I mean? To see it, like whatever image you're trying to put out there. But it's like, that's why I say like, get the cars that you want to work on. And like, you know, if you want to detail soccer mom vans, detail soccer mom vans, but be the best soccer mom van detailer there is. You know what I mean? But no,
and when you say that too, to be the best soccer mom detailer, you're not speaking just directly to your detailing ability, right? Because almost anybody can achieve, you know, the highest level of detailing in terms of your ability to clean the vehicle, right? What you're meaning is solving the soccer mom issues better than anybody else, and providing that. So I just want to kind of, you're a genius, man. And you've completely understood you've like, you know, it's just amazing how quickly your marketing IQ has changed over the past few months.
I knew nothing. It was like Chinese. Like I couldn't understand it.
Right.
I even, how many times I messaged you? Yeah. Like, what is this? Like, I don't understand. You know what I mean? But like, it comes with time, but also having like the bulletproof marketing strategy, like you know what I mean? And seeing it, and like just subliminally, I'm like brainwashing myself with it, but in a good way. And then I was just being myself.
Yeah. You know, so what you've done that I think is the most beautiful thing, and that a lot of people are probably going to miss is, okay, you've got the equation, you've drowned and completely submerged yourself in learning all kinds of marketing stuff, sales stuff, yada, yada, yada. But the reason that you're using the formula to success, the reason your upsells, downsells, you're getting referrals, your affiliates, whatever it is, the reason that that is so successful, right? And that you're able to hand pick, see a specific person, see a specific car, and get that sell out of them, get that outcome out of them, is because you, like when you're saying to be the best soccer mom detailer ever, right? You have understood that customer and that person better than any other detailer, right? You know what problems they have that they don't want, or what solutions they're looking for and don't know where to get them, right? And so when
Right.
you're speaking to them like you're inside their own head. And that's what a lot of people are missing. They're going to say, interrupt, engage, educate, offer, give them some free stuff. And they're going to walk up to a guy and go, hey, man, I can clean your car really good. $100 I'll do for free. And yeah, will you get me referrals because I'll do a really good job? They're going to try to just follow this formula like a robot. But the first thing that you did, and maybe you didn't notice it, or maybe you did it on purpose.
Yeah, I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it.
Yeah, but you're in their head, man. Like,
right.
Everything you've told me is like, I can just picture in my mind, as soon as you start talking to them, they're smiling from ear to ear, or they're confused as hell on how you know what's going on in their head.
Right.
Right. And that's why you're doing things like setting up a vehicle for them to touch and feel. Come in and I'll let you wash something, right? People are going and they're going, dude, this crazy guy, Jeff, he did this, and that. And it's because of how personal the interaction is and how specific it is to them. Right?
Individualized.
Yeah. And you've found like this subsect of people that you know them so well, you can identify them in the drive-through at Wendy's.
Right. Absolutely.
And walk right up to them and knock it out. And that's the most beautiful thing to me, man, that even during a COVID-19 pandemic or whatever you want to call it, you're out here making thousands of dollars, literally walking up and talking to somebody.
Right. And then here's the funny thing. So majority of my customers come a block away when I go to 7-Eleven to buy a $3 energy drink. Okay. And now mind you, COVID, there's one. If you look in my area, we had massive flooding. Okay. I lost 10 good paying customers because they lost everything here and decided to move. So COVID, right? And then the flooding, which totally unexpected and none of us saw it coming, right? Because the last one was like in the 80s or something, right? So like that shut down the 2 bridges to out here, right? And I still was getting these cars, right? Because I'm like, hey, if they got the cars I'm looking for on this side of the bridge, that's all that matters, right?
Right.
Like we couldn't go into town unless you wanted to drive an hour and 45 minutes out of your way.
Right.
You know, because our 2 main bridges to this side of our township were down, you know, for 3.5 weeks, you know, so almost a whole month. So, and then we take a small trip to go up to Mackinac Island, Michigan, right? To Mackinac Island, right? I get back and my entire road is gravel and tar. Okay.
Amazing.
So I'm like, okay, this is a lot to take in, right? I'm like, we got through the COVID, right? We got through the flooding, and I'm like, this is just something new. So, and then my garage is all redone. We don't do water. We only do waterless car washes in my garage. It's all been epoxied, so we do all the washing out. I could not even wash cars or park cars in my front parking lot because they were getting pelted with rocks and covered in sand, like dust. Okay, so we had to wash out back. Then I couldn't leave them outside at night, or else they'd get tree sap all over them. Then I'd have to wash them again. So we had to juggle cars around. And then I had to take the Supra, the Alfa Romeo, the Jeep we did, all these other cars through my backyard, up the side of another business, through another business's grass, and out the other side of our main road. So but I'm like, if that's the least of my worries and that's all I have to do, then I'm okay with that. But initial thing was like, this is going to definitely hurt my business, you know? Because people don't want to drive down your road when their car's going to get dusty after they leave. So like, you know, and then get the, you know, nice hot, you know, tar all over their vehicle after it's just been cleaned and detailed. So that my solution was drive it through the backyard. I'll pay for the grass if it needs to be paid for. That's it. This is what I got. I'm like, if your guys' road was done, you know, getting done, I was like, you guys are more than welcome to drive through mine anytime, or all your customers, send them through. Right. So, and then here's the funny thing, because of that, I'm now putting up gravel and a tent in my lot next door so that we could better serve customers. And if something like this happens again, we're more than prepared. So like through the adversity, still rising to the top and still delivering to my customers better than anyone else. And like, they're like, you just keep on going, don't you? And I'm like, yes, 15 years. And here's the other thing. If you have the years of experience, use it. I tell them, I was like 15 years. I was like COVID. And these are my customers out here that have gone through this as well. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also having the same pain and struggles that I'm having. I said, COVID, the flood, you know, my road turning into gravel. And they're like, yup. And I was like 15 years in business. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. And they love that. They love it. They love it. You know, I was like, I'm in it for the long haul now.
So, man, it just sounds like you could take somebody could steal all the money out of your wallet and it could rain fire from the sky and you'd still be bringing in business, man.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And then, and then also representing for single fathers out there, got my custody back with my daughter and stuff too, fought for that. So still through all that, having little things like this on the back burner and still going out prospecting every day with a smile on my face, knowing that this is what I need to be doing. Why? Because it works. And two, like it's paying dividends in times like we had a Hellcat. We had a 500 or 1,000 horsepower GT 500, the Alfa Romeo, the Supra, a 72 Monte Carlo with a 454 big block in it. You know, the Nissan GTR coming Thursday, Subaru WRX STI coming in next weekend for a coating. I went from doing no coatings a month, okay, and you know, in bad months to averaging 3 or 4 in a horrible month. So here's something else that'll blow your mind. During COVID, we were booking $3,000 to $5,000 a month in coatings.
Jeez, see, so there's no excuses, man. There's
no absolutely. Like, and I started small though. And then the other thing is I started building a value ladder for my business. So I was like, we had the 180 details, we had the 250 details, but you got to detail between 40 to 50 of those a month to make 10 grand. And then after expenses, what are you making? So if you want to take your detailing business to the next level, you can't just focus on $180 and $250 details because you're slowly going to rise to the top, right? So we just got rid of those altogether and just separated ourselves from everybody else in town and in our area during all this as well. Also took on 2 new services as well. Got another product company to partner up with and became a distributor through all this as well. So like, it's like literally no excuse, but like I had to, because my business came to a point and I reached it saying like, if I don't use what I know now and apply it, then my business is done through this because nothing else is going to get you through it. And the bulletproof marketing, the plan is just like, it literally is bulletproof. It made me bulletproof in how I talk to the customers and how I explained myself. Because like, think of it, I want to say bulletproof in a sense that like, that was my body armor that I was wearing, right? Like I was literally embodying, and like I said, I turned them into the 4 keys, because the odds of you using these properly and understanding the customer that you're working with, because you already know what they're driving, you know, and you know, things like that. That's why I base it off of going after like car enthusiasts. If they have a mildly custom car or a high-end car, chances are they love it, or else they wouldn't still be driving it. And if it's a higher end car, if they're driving it, it means that they love it.
Right.
And then we would think that like I said, these cars would be in perfect tip-top shape. I drove 4, and here's the other thing. Don't continue to seek work in your area. Also seek work outside your area. We drove 4 hours to detail my first Ferrari. Right.
Nice.
Now we did a full detail on it, and the paint on this was gone. For a Ferrari, it was horrible. But the paint was horrible, like absolutely horrible. So we wanted to take care of that, but the car was pretty much already sold before we were able to get to it and do a correction and coating. He wanted it done, but it was already sold, and customer was making a profit on it. But yeah, that was probably one of the worst paints I've ever seen in my life, and that was on a 2007 Ferrari F430. So just because they have the high-end car doesn't mean they take care of it like a high-end car.
True. Yeah, most people are actually oblivious that there is anything that they need to do.
Completely oblivious. Completely oblivious.
Well, man, I don't want to keep you forever. I'm sure we've been on here for what, about 45 minutes to an hour or so now.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, man, I'm really impressed with you, dude. You're awesome. You've done amazing, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
To kind of summarize for all the detailers that are going to be watching this, you know, and I'll let you do that as well. You know, Jeff has completely, right from the beginning, as soon as, you know, I met Jeff, he joined the $1 Million Detailer Academy. Dude, like you said, in 6 days has consumed like months of content, right? I guess earbuds in all day long, taking notes and just learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and learning. And eventually all of those gears just clicked together for him. And he was able to completely identify, here's my ideal customer. This is the guy I want to work for. I'm going to know this guy inside and out better than anybody else. So when I have a conversation with this person, or they have a problem, or there's something they need solved, I've got it, right? And then took the action to actually set up his business to provide that value to those people better than anybody else, which is a step most people don't even take, right? So the business is set up, and then a pandemic hits, whatever the case may be, and dude is literally, for everybody who asks me, how do I run a Facebook ad? How do I run a Google ad? How do I do this and this and that? This guy is literally walking up to people in the Wendy's parking lot and then, you know, closing them $5,000 later, you know? So that's absolutely amazing. So I hope if you watch this, that you've taken notes and that you're paying very, very close attention. Go back and watch it 10 more times. But Jeff, is there anything that you would leave other detailers with that you think would make the biggest impact? Like if there was, obviously it's hard to pick just one thing, right? But what would be one big domino they could knock over to help knock a ton of other dominoes over for them?
So it literally goes back to like the basics, right? Like knowing your ideal client and what, and like, you know, and customer. And like, what I mean by that is like, so I'm going after car enthusiasts because I'm a car enthusiast myself, which means I already know their language. I already know how they speak, you know, what type of cars they like to drive, you know what I mean? How they dress, you know, that's the other thing. So like, and I started like noticing that by approaching more of the, you know, people I want to work with. And by the people, I mean the cars, because the cars started showing me the people that I wanted to work with, right? So then I started getting this idea of them, what they look like in my head, and then also having the conversation with them. Well, they're no different than you and I, but you know, they like to keep things clean. They like to, you know, customize things, which means they like what they have, but they always want to add a little something extra to it to make it unique. And that's what you're doing. When you walk up to these people, you're giving them that extra thing for free, or that extra service that no one else is giving them. And they see that, and that's why they want to do business with you, because that lights them up, like I said, like the, you know, like the winning lottery machine. You know, it gets them all smiley, gets them all excited. So the best thing, if you, like I said, so we'll talk generic detailing. You see a Honda Accord that you want to detail, right? And you say, oh my God, that's the best looking Honda Accord I've ever seen. You know, let me take care of that for you. You know what I mean? And then, you know, you give them your pitch, you know, and then you give them an offer that they can't refuse. But like, and then you can do something, you can give them something free later on via text message or something as well. Hey, now that we got it in here, Julie, how about, you know, we give you that free windshield coating, or we're going to apply a you know, $150 spray wax for free because we want your car to be protected, you know, during the summertime, you know, and then have her feel the Honda. And then she's like, yeah, my husband's going to want that on a truck, and just lead with the solution solving. And so same thing in life, like you're, you know, in the saying, like you're either, you know, part of the problem or part of the solution. Well, you don't want to be a part of the problem, because you're going to offer them the solution. They already have the problem. So when you go in, you know, when you go and talk to people, you know, you're the solution solver. You already know what you have to do to the vehicle before you get it. You know what I mean? So just learning the language of the people that you want to do business with. And by that, what do they drive? Okay. If you're going to do Honda Accords, you know, look at 50 people, find 50 people who have Honda Accords. How do they talk? How do they, you know, what do they like to do, you know, on the side, for example, like find out some of their hobbies. And I learned these things just by engaging with the ideal client that I had in my head. Well, my ideal client's anyone with a $80,000 supercar, you know what I mean, that needs my attention and love.
Mhm.
So now when I see an $80,000 to $100,000 supercar, I'm like, that definitely needs my attention and love. And then that gives me the reason to start using the bulletproof marketing plan, as you know, or as I like to refer as the 4 keys.
Right.
Then that literally, that gives me the confirmation to go approach them.
That's
So
awesome,
I would just say,
man.
yeah, absolutely. I would just say lead with the conversation pertaining to the vehicle. Back and you're a detailer who has kids, you know, that might be, you know, a relatable conversation piece to help build some rapport. You know what I mean? Just, you know, get the conversation going. Oh, well, hey, Julie, you know, I see you got some kids in the backseat of your car. Well, I got a daughter too. So we're going to put a free fabric interior on there. So when little Susie or John spills something, it doesn't soak into your nice fancy seats. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
You
So
solved
the
a
solution
specific
is
problem
there.
for them. You've solved a specific problem, delivered a specific solution to them that relates directly to things that are affecting them in their everyday life.
Yep.
Rather than just, I'll protect your seats and make them clean.
Yes.
Right.
And then, you know, like the whole picture thing, you know, the picture thing's great if no one in your area has ever done detailing.
You're breaking up just a little
If
bit.
they've never
Just a
done
little
detailing
bit.
in your area. Okay. So like everybody wants to lead with like, you know, before and after photos.
Mm-hmm.
It's great, but like I used those 7 years ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
I used those 5 years ago, so they don't work anymore. And
Exactly.
I would just
It
say,
doesn't separate you at all that
no,
that you can make headlights look new again, right?
right.
Like
Your
every retailer can do
separation,
that.
yep. Your separation is you knowing the language of the person you're talking to,
Mm-hmm.
and having something that you can, you know, both talk about and a pain point or a problem point that they currently have.
Mm-hmm.
It could be, you know, when you look in it, there's stains all over the seats. You know what I mean? Then you can address that solution. Or you see the paint, and the paint needs to be buffed and polished. So there's another pain point, right? So the pain point that I reach on when I see these cars, high-end cars, is their paint. Because what does it cost to paint a Nissan GTR? What does it cost to paint a Hellcat? What does it cost to paint a new Toyota Supra? You know what I mean? That's where I lead with the highest pain point. And because they're a car enthusiast and they love this car so much, you mentioned their paint, now I have their full attention.
Mm-hmm. Right. And yeah, so like for instance, with what you're saying, say the soccer mom has oxidized headlights and then the guy with the Supra has oxidized headlights, right? You wouldn't sell them a headlight restoration and coating the same way, right? Because the soccer mom doesn't want the headlights oxidized because it impairs her vision at night, right? Which could endanger her or her kids or other people on the road, right? That's more than likely the main thought process for her. Whereas the guy with the Supra doesn't want to show up to the car meet and get made fun of by everybody.
Exactly.
Right? And on top of that, like you just touched on, if he doesn't know that you can restore and coat those headlights, he just goes to the dealership and pays $5,000 for a new set of them, right?
Yeah.
Don't want to do that either. So, you know, you would sell those entirely different based upon the actual pain points of that person, right? Because the guy with the Supra, if he sees a 50-50, you know, photo of a headlight restoration, says headlights start at $40, like most detailers do, he's not going to pay no attention to that. Neither will the soccer mom, right? Maybe 0.01% of them respond to that, right? But when you tell them, hey, don't spend $5,000 to get your new headlights restored so your buddies at the car meet don't poke you on the nose and laugh at you, right? Then you've solved a specific problem for them.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it sounds like you're doing with all of these people, man. And I really like what you said about
individualized marketing.
Right. And you said, you know, you are a car enthusiast yourself. So that's why you're attracted to car enthusiasts. And I'm like a huge Tim Ferriss fan. And I can remember reading, you know, his books years ago. And he was talking about when he would start a business, he would solve his own problem. Right. He would find a problem he had, solve that problem, and then to bring it to people like him. right?
Yep.
So he was his ideal customer, which made it 10,000 times easier for him to sell to other people because they were just like him.
Yep.
Right. He just had the solution that people like him needed, but they just didn't know where to get it from.
Right.
Beautiful.
And then it's find out where you fit in, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you fit in this detailing world picture?
Right. Right.
You know, so like I said earlier, we eliminated the low costs and the complainers and the people who cancel all their bookings by just getting rid of that price range altogether.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when people call and they're like, "You start at 175," and they're like, "That's just the interior?" Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay." You know why? Because the guy down the street from me does the $80 details, and he's so busy with that he can't do the high-end coating jobs because he's booked with all the the $80 and $120 details that just take up all your time and are low profits, high man hours. You know what I mean? And not worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing, man. And if you've got a guy down the road like that, a lot of detailers would never even think to do this, but like you eliminated his ideal client. You don't touch his ideal clients, right? That's not your business model.
Right. Nope.
The $80 interior guy, you don't even touch his stuff. But you're going to have these people coming to you, right? So maybe, they're ringing your phone. You're having to spend a minute or two talking to them. Maybe you have a Google ad running they called from. I don't know, but it's costing you in some way, whether it just be a couple minutes of your time or your ads or whatever the case may be. You've done something to get them on the phone. You could always, right? If you're not doing that anymore, but the guy that does do that work. Hey, buddy, every time I get one of these people that want the $80 interior done, I'll just send them directly to you. I'll make you sound like the greatest detailer for them of all time, right?
Right. Yep.
Kick me back $10, $15,
Yeah.
right? For everyone I send you. Or, turn around and you'll send business back my way for the bigger jobs that you can't handle.
Yep.
So detailers could always work together that way as well, so you're maximizing every lead that's coming to you.
Yep. And that's literally what happened. Is now all the detailers that are the $80 to $150 details are now getting all the work that they wanted and needed to grow too. But that's literally what happened and opened up. And then now out in my area, there's all these big detail shops who aren't getting the work. You know what I mean? And like now their space is for rent, and I'm like, yeah, I think I might grab that now. Not because to sound arrogant or cocky or anything, but because they don't know how to keep it afloat. During times like this. So now the opportunity is there for me to get more of the flow going. But once again, just stay and focus on what I'm trying to do, and then just building on that. The other thing is riches and niches. You know what I mean? So if you're whatever you guys decide to do, and anyone decides to do in this industry, you just got to make sure that you're the best at it, and then that you stand out, and that you're yourself, you're authentic, and then you just deliver on your promises, and then you're good to go. And then you just keep lighting up your market or your area with what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're the superhero for one specific type of person, not everybody, right?
Right.
And that's not because you're arrogant or you're better than $80 details or whatever it is, right? The guy down the street, he does $80 details better than Jeff. Okay, that's his thing, right?
Right.
I'm here because I'm the best at taking care of the supercars. I'm the best at saving people $20,000 in a new paint job, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's amazing because a lot of detailers want to think they're doing your type of work. They assume, okay, that's because I'm better than the $80 details. It's not, man. Right. It's because you have a different model. You have a different subset of people you're serving, a better niche that you're serving, and it's awesome that you're doing that humbly.
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
That's incredible, man. Well, any last thoughts, anything else you want to drop for these guys?
Nope. I just say best of luck to everybody, and just keep working at it. If you're not phenomenal at it now, you will be later on.
Indeed. If you suck now, eventually you'll suck so less that you're actually kind of good.
All right. All right,
Awesome,
Christian. Thank
man.
you for the call, brother, and I appreciate everything.
No, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. I'm sure you're about to help a whole lot of people, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on editing this and getting it out there for everyone to check out.
All right. Sounds good, brother. Take care.
You too, man. Keep killing it.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.